Today, we're going to be visiting the origins of the Choose Your Own Adventure book concept with Sugarcane Island, the prototype for the concept and one of the very first written works by Edward Packard, who created the whole idea. What I have here is the original text as reprinted in Which Way books, but Sugarcane Island appeared in many different formats. It was a standalone novel, Adventures of You, Which Way books, which is what I have here, and eventually it was revised and included in Choose Your Own Adventure. You stand on the deck of a large boat, looking back at the Golden Gate Bridge as you set out into the Pacific Ocean. You have been invited to join Dr. Carlton Frisbee on an expedition to the Galapagos Islands. Dr. Frisbee studies turtles for zoos. He knows everything about turtles. The trip is great fun, but one day, as the boat is sailing along through the churning waters and you are stretched out in your deck chair watching the flying fish, you see a huge wave heading toward the boat. The wave was caused by an earthquake somewhere on the ocean floor. It rolls across the water at you. Your boat rises with it, higher and higher. Then the foaming water sweeps across the deck. It is too late to run, and all you can do is grab hold of your deck chair. In a moment, you are carried right off your boat, clinging high on the crest, riding the great wave, flying on a cloud of water. The only thing you can see through the foam and spray are your own hands tightly gripping the deck chair. Then you feel yourself sliding down the back of the wave. The next thing you remember is waking from a deep sleep. You wonder if you have been dreaming. You know you have not. Instead of being back in your bed, you find yourself lying high on a huge sand dune. Behind you is a broad, sloping beach. You watch the foaming waves thrashing upon it. Ahead of you is a meadow of tall reeds bounded by high, rocky hills. You are hungry and thirsty. You look out at the ocean and see nothing but endless blue water. Except for a few seagulls hovering over the waves, you are all alone. If you decide to walk along the beach, turn to page 5. If you decide to climb the rocky hill, turn to page 6. Now, I have read this book before, but not the entire thing, and I didn't remember it very well, so I'm pretty much going into this blind today. So let's flip a coin. We'll walk along the beach. The sand is so soft and hot on your bare feet that you go down to the edge of the sea where the sand feels cool and firm. You walk on, but each new stretch of beach seems like the last. You are thirsty and hungry and so tired that you can hardly walk. Then, almost underfoot, you see water spouting out of the sand. You dig down and pull up a clam, and then another. You break the shells and pick out the meaty part. It doesn't look very tasty. If you decide to eat the clams, turn to page 7. If you decide not to eat the clams, turn to page 8. Well, my dad is really good at making clams for dinner, but he usually has a pot to boil them in, so I think I'm going to not eat the clams. You trudge wearily upon the beach, wondering whether you will ever find food decent enough to eat. You walk on into the meadow. You know you could never make it up the rocky hill. The hot sun beats down on your head. You feel faint and fall unconscious on the ground. Sometime later, you wake up and notice a long, mean-looking snake covered with diamond-shaped patches. It is slithering across your legs. If you decide to try to jump away, turn to page 13. If you decide to lie very still and hope the snake slithers away, turn to page 15. I think I'm going to go, get the snake off me! So we'll turn to page 13. You pull your legs up in order to spring to your feet, but the snake lunges and sinks its fangs into your leg. The pain is terrible. You jump up and run away, but in a few seconds you faint and fall to the ground. A long time later, you wake up in a thatched hut. An island woman is standing over you. She gives you coconut milk. Your leg still hurts, but you feel better. The woman leaves. You look out and see fierce-looking islanders doing a wild tribal dance around a bonfire. If you decide to run away, turn to page 25. If you decide to stay, turn to page 26. Well, if I run away, I'll probably die of snake venom, so I think I'll stay. After a while, some islanders come into your hut. They bring with them a young warrior. An old man comes up to you and says, "You must follow him. He take you over mountains to your tribe." You have no choice, and you and the warrior set out on a long journey through the mountains. You walk along animal trails and sleep under the stars. One day, you and the warrior climb up toward a ridge so high it is covered with snow. You're on a narrow path with 100-foot drop on either side. Suddenly, the warrior tries to push you off. You regain your balance, but you must get away. If you run higher, turn to page 52. If you run back down, turn to page 53. I guess I'll run down, because if I go higher, then I'll just get stuck up there. The warrior rushes after you, and with one great lunge hurls you over the cliff. You fall onto a ledge and lie there, feeling battered and bruised. The fierce warrior thinks you're dead and starts back to his village. After a while, you pick yourself up. Fortunately, you did not break any bones. Wow, this island is just a never-ending onslaught of things trying to kill you for no apparent reason. If you try to go on, turn to page 90. If you head back to the native village, turn to page 91. I guess I'll go back to the native village. You know, they seemed nice, apart from the one who tried to kill me. You make it back to the village. The chief is amazed to hear your story. The evil warrior is punished, and the chief and 3 of the best warriors guide you over the mountain pass down to the village and to safety. Now, said the chief, our people will never be afraid of snow again. The end. I'm not sure what he meant by that, but I guess I'm alive. Okay, well that was weird and kind of abrupt. So, let's go back. At that last juncture, if instead of going back to the village, I had tried to go on, here's what would have happened. You struggle up over the mountain pass to the top. You are cold and tired. You see a beautiful green valley below, but you're too cold and tired to go on. The end. And so, presumably, I die because I'm too cold and tired to get to the beautiful green meadow. Wow, what a great story. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Back at that juncture where I could have eaten the clams, let's see what would have happened if I had eaten them. The first bite tastes awful, but it makes you realize how hungry you are. You eat more clams, and they taste better. You feel stronger, but also thirstier. You run up the beach and into the forest, looking for water. You come upon a small pond. The water tastes salty. If you decide to drink the water, turn to page 11. If you decide not to drink the water, turn to page 12. Well, if it's salty, it's not going to be of much help, so I'm not going to drink it. You walk on and on, looking for good water. You become thirstier. You wonder whether you will ever find water. Then you look over a ledge and see a sparkling clear brook. A fierce-looking pirate with a red beard and a brass ring in his ear is standing there fishing. If you go down to the brook, turn to page 22. If you stay hidden on the ledge, turn to page 23. I guess I'll go talk to the pirate, you know. What could possibly go wrong? You walk up to the brook and take a long drink. Avast, you lubber, says the pirate. Please, sir, do you have any food? I'm very hungry, you say. The pirate roars with laughter and points to some fish that he has just caught. Eat some fish, and I'll show you something better, he says. But if you insult that fish by refusing to dine, I'll throw you to his brothers at 9. If you eat the fish, turn to page 45. If you refuse to eat the fish, turn to page 46. Well, I am starving, might as well eat the fish, even without the angry pirate. The fish tastes pretty good, after all. The pirate smiles and says, You didn't have to eat the fish. I just wanted to see if you have a brain in your head. Since you do, I'm glad you've come along. I've got a boat rigged and ready to leave for the Galapagos Islands. I can make it if I have another hand aboard, and you seem fit to take your turn at the helm. Avast, let's load her up and be out of here. He takes you to a cove where a crude sailboat lies at anchor. If you go to sea with the pirate, turn to page 79. If you run away at the first chance, turn to page 80. Well, I'm on a stranded island, so going away from the one boat that's leading me off of it doesn't seem like the best idea. Let's go with the pirate. You put out to sea in a fair breeze. The boat moves nicely through the water, but you wonder how it will take the heavy seas running on the open ocean. You know, we're only 50 miles from an island with lots of rum, says the pirate. Come on and lash yourself to the ship with this line, or a wave will carry you off to the sharks. Soon the boat is riding up and down in the foamy mists of the sea. You wonder if you and the pirate will ever make it to friendly shores. You make it! The end. So it's a happy ending, but pretty abrupt. Well, I will say this book, it has a very fast pace, and that's kind of interesting. It's just not very in-depth. If I had run away from the pirate, here's what would have happened. The night before the day you and the pirate have decided to set sail, you wait until he is asleep. Then you slip away and run along the dark beach to get as far as possible before he discovers you are gone. Finally, you lie down to rest. You're awakened by the bright light of the sun. You feel thirsty, scared, and lonely. Turn to page 5. You walk along the beach. Oh, wait, hold on. This is the same point where I get the option to eat the clams or not eat the clams. That happens sometimes in game books where there are different pages that will point you to the same page. Okay, so let's not eat the clams. And then this time, when the snake slithers across me the next day, I'm going to lie very still and hope that it goes away. The snake slithers along over your legs and rustles into the brush. You quickly jump up and run off in the other direction, but suddenly you feel yourself slipping. You have fallen into a deep pit, an animal trap. You wait there wondering whether you will be rescued or whether an animal may fall in with you. After an hour or so, some short, hairy, ape-like men arrive and peer down at you. They are very excited to find a person like you. Quickly, they pull you out. If you run off into the forest and hide, turn to page 28. If you try to make friends, turn to page 29. I need all the help I can get. Let's make friends. The islanders take you back to their village. A family invites you into their hut for dinner. Afterward, you sit with them as they play their flutes in front of a fire. They give you a soft mat on which to sleep and bid you good night. Next morning, you are brought before the high chieftain. She speaks. Your coming is a lucky omen. It means no army will bother us. You will stay with us and be happy here in Abagoon. Never try to leave. You live with the family who is kind to you, and you find that life is good in Abagoon. You learn how to hunt and to find plants to eat. You become tough and learn to run fast as a deer. Still, you feel homesick. If you try to escape, turn to page 56. If you stay, turn to page 57. Let's try to escape. You wonder how to escape. If you just run away, the islanders might track you and find you in the forest. There seems to be only one chance. The village is in a valley next to a volcano, which has been belching forth clouds of yellow-brown smoke. The islanders are afraid of it. You decide that if you run up the side of the volcano, they will not dare to follow you. Early the next morning, even more smoke is pouring out. The islanders mumble nervously. You run through the woods toward the volcano and climb up its slopes. The islanders follow. Just as they are about to catch you, there is a rumble. Smoke and fire spit out of the mountain. The islanders scream and run back toward their village. If you try to climb further and get to the other side of the volcano, turn to page 96. If you run back with the islanders, turn to page 97. They both sound like pretty bad options. I think I'll go back with the islanders, though. Better to stay with them and maybe survive the volcano. You run back to the islanders. The volcano belches forth. The black lava pours down the mountain toward their village. The air smells of hot sulfur. The islanders no longer try to hurt you. They pray and chant in hopes that their village will not be destroyed. In a little while, a fresh, cool wind blows across the fields. The air clears. Everyone looks up. The lava flow has stopped. The mountain is quiet. The villagers come and bow to you. They think that you saved them from destruction. They give you rare jewels and thanks for the help they think you have given them. The next day, they show you a hidden trail to a village where you can wait for a visiting boat, bound for America. The end. I'm not sure how I feel about that ending. I kind of feel sorry for the islanders because, they got tricked. I mean, I didn't mean to trick them, but still. So what would have happened if, instead of going back with them, I had tried to climb to the other side of the volcano? You run along the edge of the volcano, trying to get across to the other side. The smoke is so thick you can hardly breathe. The ground rumbles and you can feel underground explosions through your feet. Finally, you find a path skirting around the mountain. As you run down the mountain as fast as you can, at last you can breathe fresh air. Then there's a great explosion behind you, and you hear the sound of crumbling rocks and falling trees. The volcano has blown off the other side of the mountain. You do not know it, but the village of Abagun now lies buried under molten lava. You find your way along a path reaching to the ocean, and wander along the shore for 2 days. Finally, you reach a friendly village by a lagoon shielded from the surf by a coral reef. You live there with a kind family. They tell you that every month a ship visits from Mexico, and that if you wish to go home, the captain will be glad to take you. You're happy to hear that. The end. I think I like that ending even less than the other one because the village gets destroyed by the volcano. So, wow, if I come back with them, the village survives. So maybe I really did save the village and I didn't even know it. Now, if I had never tried to run away from Abagun in the first place, here's what would have happened. You stay on in Abagun. You grow strong and learn to hunt and fish. You learn the secrets of the forest and the stories of the stars. It is a happy life, but you miss your home. Years later, visiting scientists wandering through the forest come upon the village and are captured. The chief tells them they can never leave, but they don't seem to mind. To your surprise, they tell the chief they will be perfectly happy to stay forever. One of the scientists, however, takes you aside. "Stay close to me tomorrow," he says. The next day, at noontime, a great helicopter swirls down from the sky. The islanders are frightened and scatter in all directions. You follow the scientists up to the helicopter and climb aboard. In a moment, you are safely on your way home. The end. Okay. That's that. Let's go back to the pirate again. The first time I talked to the pirate, he gave me the option of eating the fish. So what happens if I don't eat the fish? The pirate is furious at you. You run up a steep hill and he lumbers after you. You dart across a rock ledge. He comes right on your heels. You hear a crumbling sound and then a scream. He has fallen 20 feet onto the rocks below. You climb down and look at him cautiously. He's almost dead. "I tried to kill you," he murmurs, "and killed myself. Now I'll try to help you, and maybe help myself. Under that waterfall, there's a cave. Crawl in and follow the long tunnel. Near the end is a sandy spot. Dig, and you will find the largest diamond in the world. Then go on, and in a few feet you'll come out to safety and..." Suddenly, the pirate dies. If you follow his advice, turn to page 81. If you don't follow his advice, turn to page 82. I guess, well, hey, diamonds are diamonds. Might as well have a look. You crawl into the cave and wander along the tunnel. Your knees and elbows are scraped by sharp rocks. It is cold and damp, and you wish you had not listened to the pirate. The tunnel is so tight you cannot turn around. It is dark, and you're scared. You lie flat to rest, stretching your arms forward. The ground is sandy under your hands. You dig with your fingers, and almost immediately you feel it. A diamond as big as an egg. You crawl on through the tunnel. You see light ahead. In a few moments, you are out again in the sunshine. You are on a hill overlooking a blue-green lagoon. Anchored close to the shore is a two-masted schooner flying a United States flag. You know now that you will find your way home, and you still have the enormous diamond. The end. All right, the moral of the story is always go for the treasure. If I hadn't gone for the treasure, here's what would have happened. Not trusting that pirate, you sit down to think. You are so hungry that you eat some of that fish anyway, which is kind of pointless because this all happened because I didn't eat the fish, but never mind. For months, you live on sugarcane and coconut and fish. One day, when peering through the woods into an open glade, you see a strange man on his hands and knees. He is holding a magnifying glass. "Hello," you call out. "Hello," he says. "I'm Dr. Waddle. I have just about given up looking for the lost ape of Pacifica." You have a long talk with Dr. Waddle and find he is a scientist like Dr. Frisbee. In fact, it turns out Dr. Frisbee and Dr. Waddle are old friends. And soon you and Dr. Waddle are on your way to his ship, anchored in a nearby harbor. The next day, you sail for home. As the ship heads out to sea, you stand on the stern and wave goodbye to Sugarcane Island. The end. All right, there's another okay ending. Let's see. Let's go back to the beginning. And this time, instead of walking along the beach, let's climb the hill. You head up toward the rocky hill, crossing a marshy meadow on the way. You watch carefully for snakes. You find some tasty berries that quench your thirst and make you feel stronger. You walk on, climbing higher. But you find that to get to the top of the hill, you'll have to climb up some steep and dangerous-looking rocks. If you decide to try to climb the steep rocks, turn to page 9. If you decide to go back to the berries and rest for the night, turn to page 10. Let's try climbing up. You start climbing the steep hill. It is rough going, and once you lose your grip and almost fall down a rock wall. Finally, you reach the top. Ahead of you is a beautiful valley. Off to your left, you see smoke rising. To your right, you hear the sound of drum beats. If you head towards the smoke, turn to page 16. If you head towards the drums, turn to page 17. Well, where there's smoke, there's probably fire, which means there's probably people. But where there's drums, there will be drummers, which means there's definitely people. So let's go towards the drums. You walk along the path through the woods. The drum beats pound in your ears louder and faster. Then you hear people singing and chanting. You reach the end of the woods. Ahead of you is a large clearing leading to a large village. You crawl through the brush so as to get a good view without being seen. There, only 100 feet away, are hundreds of islanders in bright red and yellow costumes, dancing about wildly. It looks as if they're having a good time. If you go into the village, turn to page 33. If you continue on through the woods, turn to page 35. Let's go to the village. Looks like they're having a good time. As you walk into the village, the islanders surround you and start a new round of singing and dancing. Then they stop and everyone falls silent. The chief comes out. You shake hands with him and smile. He invites you to sit with him. Helpers bring a fried coconut, roast rabbit, sugarcane cake, cinnamon cookies, and lemonade. One of the islanders at the table speaks to you. Tomorrow, he says, there will be a war with the other tribe. Can you help us? Everyone looks at you. You can see that everyone fears that the other tribe will destroy their village. If you say you'll help, turn to page 64. If you say you can't help, turn to page 65. I don't know what I can do to help them or why I should get involved in a war, but don't really have any good options, so I'll say that I'm going to help. Everyone goes to bed. You sit wondering what you can do to help in the battle with the other tribe. Two ideas occur to you. One idea is to advise the tribe to leave the village and wait in ambush for the enemy. Another possibility is to attack the village of the other tribe to catch them off guard. If you decide to devise an ambush, turn to page 106. If you decide to advise a preventive attack, turn to page 107. Let's try the ambush. The chief is enthusiastic about your idea of an ambush. It has never been tried before. At sunrise, your group spreads out behind rocks and brush along the trail between the two villages. The enemy advances. Your tribe attacks from ambush, spears the enemy tribesmen before they realize what has happened, wins the battle, and brings peace to their village. You are a hero. The villagers give you jewels and gold and help you find your way to another friendly village where you can wait for a ship to take you home. Okay. Guess it's good. Now, if I advised a preventive attack, I would have gone to page 107, which coincidentally is the same place I would have been sent to if I had said that I couldn't help. So let's check that out and see what would have happened. The chief does not like what you say at all. He becomes angry. The villagers tie you to a stake and say they will burn you alive when they come back from the battle. They leave. You are alone. You wait all day. You cannot wiggle free. Every hope seems lost. Then, as the sun is going down, there are great whoops and cries, and a strange new crowd of people rushes into the village. It's the enemy tribe. They have won the battle. They rush up and untie you. The chief says, "Any prisoner of theirs is a friend of ours." In a few days, they help you find your way to a friendly village where you can wait for a ship to take you home. The end. So the ending's not that different from the other one, except that in the other one I got to do something. So that's Sugarcane Island for you. It's a pretty good concept. It being that this was basically the very first of its kind, it proves how the choose your own adventure book concept works, and it does so well. It's very fast paced, has lots of choices, lots of endings. There's never a long stretch where you have to keep turning pages. I don't think you ever go more than one page without having a choice. So it has that going for it. But as a result of that, none of the choices are very deep, and most of the endings are a little abrupt. So some of these endings, who knows, maybe it would help if it had a sequel. Well, I guess that's probably enough for now. So, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.